Good day, everybody. This is Yin Yang at 8:10 a.m. I'm very sorry. I have no excuse, but it's 8:10 a.m. instead of 5:10 a.m. Usually, if I'm late, it will take 3 hours. I will wake up at the end of the show, 5:30 instead, and it's normally a show that goes from 5:10 to 5:24, 5:34. So I have been reading to you from wise authors. Today we are on 1882 consecutive days on morsels of a thought of wisdom. Hopefully that we learn the right things to do, because knowing the right things to do is a form of wisdom. Then actually taking the magic action to do it is actually virtue. We are bringing more virtue into the world with morsels of a thought of wisdom from other people, such as Ellen Fein and Sherrie Schneider, because I'm not very wise, so I'm simply reading to you what they can say. The reason that they're really good at it is that they caught on to the biological differences between women and men, and the biology out trumps any kind of other stuff, right? Biology is nature. So in our nature, we respond to the philosophy which is called the rules. All the rules here, chapter 3, which is the second part of the book, which is from rules, the rules 2, Roman numeral 2, more rules to live and love by. Second, chances, rules for getting back an ex. If you're someone who read the rules and thought, if only I had done the rules on my old boyfriend, or so that's why he wouldn't commit, then this chapter is for you. You may not have seen him in months or even years, but now you're convinced he could have been the one. You didn't know any better and you blew it. And now you could kick yourself. If only you had known the rules back then. You want him back. At the very least, you want to give the relationship a second chance. I'm not like that, by the way. I am not like that. I don't have a single ex-boyfriend that I would want back. It tells you my vetting system was pretty terrible. I didn't have a good vetting system, and where's that piece of wood I can't find? But this is the author speaking now, you want to do the rules this time and see what happens. You're wondering if there's any hope. You want to know what to do next, if anything. Before you make a move, take a deep breath. Calm down and forgive yourself. And Mary's edition is forgive yourself for not forgiving yourself sooner, okay? That's another edition from me. Realize that what you're going through is very common. Regretting the past, wishing you had behaved differently with a certain man, thinking he's the one that got away and you'll never meet anyone better. We've received hundreds of letters from women that begin with, if only I wish I had had this book 10 years ago when I was dating fill in the blank. These women either just didn't know they should behave a certain way with men, or they instinctively knew they should, but didn't have the strength to do it without specific guidelines and support. I'll pause here to say there are support groups and Facebook groups. Shannon Palace runs a Facebook group that is really good. It's the rules support group and advice for dating and real life. She is a life coach that does the rules. And I have also a rules certified coach named Edna McIntosh. And also, you can certainly call the authors Ellen Fein and Sherrie Schneider. Okay? All right. Of course, all you care about now that you've read the rules is, can you get him back? It depends. The authors are speaking here, if you initiated the relationship, spoke to him first, asked him out, and he eventually ended it, then it's not only over, it was never meant to be. Remember the rules The rule is let him speak to you first. Otherwise, you never know if he was going to be polite and speak to you back, or if he was going to speak to you first, or if he was not going to speak to you first, then that means he wasn't interested. Back to the authors. Don't call him or write him, that one, or try to contact him in any way to say you've changed and want a second chance. He didn't really want you in the first place. Forget him and move on. But if he pursued you and you broke rules, for example, you were possessive, saw him every night, or moved in with him and he broke it off because he felt suffocated, there may be hope. There's one way to find out, and we call it one call for closure. One call for closure. Capital O, capital C, capital C. Call him once when you're sure he's not home, so you get his answering machine, or when you can text him. Calling when he's not in is crucial. So that means when you text, don't answer. Don't answer. Don't answer anything he answers you with. Let it go. Let it be for at least 24 to 48 hours. Okay. When you use the texting method, let it go for 24 to 48 hours. This is what the groups say, and the authors support the groups as well. So 24 to 48 hours. Calling when he's not in is crucial. You don't want to make him uncomfortable if he doesn't want to hear from you or is involved with someone else or even married. Leaving a message also allows him to call you if and when he wants to, which is the best start for any conversation between you. Your message gives him time to think and the option of not calling, which you must give him. Of course, if his machine says, we're not home right now, if his outgoing message says, we're not home right now, and you hear a woman's voice chiming in, do not leave a message. Leave him alone and go on with your life. So if you know he's married, do not make that call. Do not make that text. Do not send that text. Assuming he's not involved with someone, we suggest you leave the following message. Hi, it's your name. I just wanted to say hello to see how you're doing. You can reach me at phone number. That's it. Okay, they say it. If you don't hear from him, it's over. Don't call again to make sure he got the message. He got the message. His answering machine isn't broken. His phone messages aren't broken. Don't write him or track him down at work, home, his favorite bar, or the gym. That's called stalking. Forget all about him and move on. You must work on accepting the way he feels and not dwelling on the past and what might have been. We are reading from All the Rules, Time-Tested Secrets for Capturing the Heart of Mr. Right. Sorry, I didn't say the title sooner, but it's from Ellen Fein and Sherrie Schneider, co-authors of The Rules. Best-selling, here you go. No, The Rules and The Rules 2. Millions of copies sold. So, and when you're in this situation, don't berate yourself. If you were supposed to end up with him, you would have. Tell yourself there's someone else out there for you. Try to date others and keep doing the rules. If he does call, don't automatically assume he's rekindling the romance. He might just be returning your call, being polite, nothing deep. So try not to get too excited or show how happy you are to hear from him. Be cool, cordial, say, oh, hi, how are you? Don't say, I was hoping you'd call. If he asks why you called, just say, oh, I wondered how you were doing and wanted to say hello. Keep the conversation light, business, vacations, and so on. Don't ask him if he ever thinks about you or misses you, if he's seeing anyone new. After 10 minutes, say, well, I have to get going. It was nice talking to you. Don't stay on the phone for 30 minutes or an hour waiting and hoping he will suggest drinks. If he doesn't ask you out within 10 minutes, he's not interested. Remember, If he is interested but needs more than 10 minutes to ask out an ex-girlfriend, he can always call you again. Right? Right. Right? Right. Right, 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 right. If he does that, I said that. If he does ask you out, say yes. This is what the authors are saying. If it's for a future date, it need not be a Saturday night the first time you meet, but it should at least be 3 days in advance. You want to let him know that your life didn't stop since the two of you split and that your calendar is full. Your first date with an ex-boyfriend is very much like a first date with a man you just met. It's almost like a new relationship. So let him pick you up and take you out. Safe because you already know this guy from years. Anyway, look very, very good when you meet him. Extra care with your makeup, pretty outfit. Don't dress down as if it's your 200th date, even if technically it is. Be light, casual, upbeat. Needless to say, don't have a heavy discussion about your relationship or the past unless he brings up the subject. Even if he talks about the way it was, try not to dwell on it. Discuss general topics such as what you have both been doing professionally, if he still runs 3 miles every morning, and so on. Keep the date on a let's catch up, quote unquote, level, as opposed to what you've been through since the breakup level. By the way, you should not tell him how much or how little you've dated since the breakup. Be honest but mysterious. Don't get terribly serious. Don't tell him that you now realize all the mistakes you've made since the relationship with him ended and how much you've changed and how you want another chance. It's too intense. Besides, it's easy to tell someone how much you've changed. The important part is actually being a changed person when he dates you. Don't tell him that you've read the rules and now realize what you did wrong, that you were too needy, that you shouldn't have gotten mad when he went out with the guys, and that you'll never be that way again. Simply be light. Try to be the girl he originally fell in love with. End the date first. Don't go back to his apartment or invite him up to yours or even think of having sex with him that night. Remember, this is a first date. If anything, you must be extra strict with this man. He dumped you once, he can hurt you again. If this is to be a rules relationship, he must call you and ask you out for Saturday night from now on. Seeing you either awakened a desire to date you again and to renew the relationship, or it didn't. If he wants to renew this is Ying. If he wants to renew the relationship, he is a man and biologically he knows how to chase a woman. So don't even think about making it easier for him. That's my 2 cents. Okay, back to the authors. Seeing you either awakened a desire to date you again and to renew the relationship, or it didn't. The only way to find out is if he calls you and asks you out. You should not ask him if he missed you or if he wants to get back together. If he is to pursue you, he should not know exactly how you feel about him. He should think, she called me one day. She might be interested, but I'm not sure. Maybe she was just bored or found an old photo of us. Remain mysterious. If he thinks that you've decided he's the one, he could get scared. If he calls, you must do all the rules outlined in our first book, specifically how to act on dates 1, 2, and 3, and how to act on dates 4 through commitment time. Now, there's a phrase that they used in the first book at the first time. It was being and nothingness. Anyway, back to the authors. Treat him like a new boyfriend. Don't talk about the past or act too chummy. For example, you should not call his family even if you met his parents and sister 20 times when you were dating. Remember, you've been apart. He has to invite you to any social events with his families and friends all over again. If you meet him for dinner and he never calls again, he may not have felt a strong enough spark. Maybe he thought about it but never got around to picking up the phone. Men can be that way. Maybe he's involved with someone else but didn't tell you and met you for old times' sake. We know of several women who contacted old boyfriends for various reasons, to make amends for the past, to discuss a business problem, or to try to start over. In each case, these men met them for drinks, said they had a great time, and hoped they could stay good friends, and then never called again. We can only say, now these authors are smart. We can only say that if this happens to you, you must try to accept that it's over for him and move on. The authors know the biology of men, okay? We'll say that later. Now, what if this man happens to be your ex-husband and you decided you want him back? Again, it depends. If he initiated the divorce, you can make one call for closure, capital O, capital C, and then follow the plan outlined above for getting back an ex-boyfriend. But don't start making room in your closet. When a man initiates a divorce, he's usually gone. It's over and out. We're reading from All the Rules by Ellen Fein and Sherrie Schneider because I'm not very wise about dating, but they are. So I'm reading to you what these wise people have to say for morsels of a thought. And we're getting synopses of what they have found out from millions of sales of this book. Okay, so next, the authors say, however, if you initiated the divorce but are now sorry and miss him, there is hope, especially if you are still in contact with your ex and sense that he would be open to a reconciliation. Maybe you have kids together and he lingers a while when he comes by on weekends to pick them up, or just seems to find reasons to call you, to be friends, to be in your life, but you're wondering, how do you go about telling him you want him back without making a fool of yourself or risking rejection? We suggest you simply weave the following question into a friendly conversation the next time you see him or he calls. Now listen to this. Have you ever had second thoughts about our divorce? End quote. That's it, the authors say. That's it. Don't say another word, is what the authors say. Don't say another word. Don't get sentimental and weepy and pour your heart out. He must take it from there. Give you some indication that he would also like a reconciliation, whether it be then or at some point in the future when he's had a chance to sort it out. Whatever you do, don't rush him. Let him proceed at his own pace. He may suggest having dinner or drinks to talk things over, but these must be his overtures. You've done your part. Now it's up to him. We've outlined our suggestions for getting back an ex, but don't be too upset if your old boyfriend or ex-husband just won't come back. Remember, there was a reason the relationship didn't work out before, so don't romanticize it. Also, comfort yourself with the knowledge that it's usually easier to do the rules on a new man than an ex. Sometimes trying to rekindle an old flame works, but frequently the best advice we can give a woman who thinks she's still in love with her ex is next. Okay, that was chapter 3. We're going to read chapter 4, which is don't waste time on fantasy relationships. Don't waste time on fantasy relationships. If you have a good rapport with your doctor, lawyer, or accountant, you may find yourself wondering if he is interested in you romantically. You're not alone, but you may not be seeing the situation for what it is. How can you know for sure? It's simple. Has he ever asked you out? Has he ever suggested having a drink, coffee, lunch, or dinner? If the answer is no, then he's not. This may sound obvious, but you'd be surprised how many women tell themselves it's romance when a man pays them the slightest attention out of professional courtesy. We wrote this chapter to smash any delusions you might have about a fantasy relationship of your own. Unless he asks to spend time with you in a non-professional capacity, a relationship beyond business does not exist, and rules girls don't waste their time on non-existent relationships. The fact is, when a man is interested in a woman, including a female patient or client, employer or employee, he finds some way to ask her out. He may invite her to work out at his gym, attend a fundraiser with him, or to play tennis over the weekend. He may not necessarily ask her out for a Saturday night date, since that might be too obvious or awkward or forward, but he'll figure out some way to see her outside of the office. This behavior is different from the professional courtesy of a physician or financial advisor who might say, "Call me anytime," which women mistakenly interpret as romantic interest. Let's examine 3 fantasy relationships and the rules as answers to remove any doubt you might have about a similar situation in your life. Fantasy relationship number 1. Your internist of 2 years told you, "Beep me anytime, call me anytime," if your asthma acts up. He once told you to call him by his first name. He puts his arm around your shoulders when he escorts you out of his office. You just know he would ask you out if you weren't his patient, and naturally you want to have a quote talk end quote with him or ask him out. The rules answer: if a doctor is friendly, affectionate, concerned, and kind, then he's doing his job. It's not a come on for a doctor to tell a patient to call him or call the office day or night, quote unquote, if his patient has asthma. People can die of asthma, and it's his job to make sure his patients stay alive and well. Some doctors are informal. It's okay to call them by their first name. And others are touchy feely. They kiss all their patients hello and goodbye. It's just good bedside manners and good business for a doctor to show warmth and caring. If he were romantically interested in you and uncomfortable about dating a patient, he would refer you to his associate and then ask you out. Sure, it's a little more complicated for a doctor, lawyer, or CEO to pursue a patient, client, or associate, but it's not impossible. We've heard about bosses who've dated and even married their employees. I have relatives like that, even though it was frowned upon by the company. At first, they kept the relationship a secret, and then they voluntarily decided he or she would transfer to another division or another company so they could date freely. Okay, so I've got 2 minutes left, so I'm not going to read fantasy relationship number 2. So, if you can't tell him how you feel, what can you do? The rules. Look your best whenever you see him and end all calls or meetings first. Show no interest in him personally. Don't send him holiday cards if you mistakenly thought that would make him think about you in a different light. Or invite him to your New Year's party to pave the way from a professional relationship to a social one. Don't buy him a tie for Christmas or bake him cookies for the holidays. Gifts don't make men think about women or ask them out. Try to treat him as you would an elderly or unattractive man, not the handsome hunk you think he is. Someone you wouldn't think twice about, much less bake brownies for. Doing the rules won't make him ask you out if he was never going to, but it will keep you from wasting time baking cookies and writing notes to men who aren't interested in you. You'll have more self-esteem. Of course, the best thing you can do is try to meet other men who do ask you out. Nothing replaces a fantasy relationship better than a rules one, so move on. So we're here. We got 45 seconds left. So I want to bring my show over to Substack. So if you could please look for me, ying.yang.31.substack.com. Okay? And on YouTube, please come to YouTube, Ying Orange 99. Morsels of a Thought, M.O.A.T, M.O.A.T. Okay. I also have a Facebook page that's a M.O.A.T audience, but I'm planning to move away from Facebook and Instagram sometime soon. Okay. Talk to you later. Old Kinderhook.